Hi everyone, it's Darlene. Welcome to another card video. This week I used my owl punch to make a window card, which is the challenge this month on the Hero Arts blog. So I thought it'd be fun to use my owls again. And I went and used a different cutter than I normally use because it's got that single blade, and I usually use a roller blade. What do you call that, a roller blade? I can't remember. Anyway, I'm just coming a ½ inch in on each side, and a rotary blade, that's what it's called. Rotary blade. Anyway, so ½ inch on each side on one side of my card. And I'm not measuring it or drawing lines with a pencil, I'm just sort of using the rulers on my cutter. It doesn't have to be exact because I'm actually going to cover those cut marks. And then I'm going to go in and take a brown piece, chocolate chip, and I'm measuring 3/4 of an inch on each side in 2 spots so that I can draw a straight line on all sides. And then I'm just going to follow that line in my cutter to create the hole in the middle. And I'm just going to erase my pencil marks. I'm going to take my wood grain stamp, and I'm using chocolate chip ink on chocolate chip paper. And because my paper is too wide and I want the lines to go up and down, I'm going to do it in 2 parts. I'm going to mark where I left off on one side, so I know where to place it on the second round. Now I'm going to draw a log that goes across. I'm just going to use that as my frame, and I'm just going to freehand it. I'm just making sure it fits, and I'm going to take my wood grain. I'm going to go in the opposite direction this time. I'm going to use a sponge dauber, which is just a fingertip applicator, to just ink up the edges to give it a little bit more dimension. I'm going to take my scallop circle. I'm just going to punch a bunch of random half circles. These are going to be the leaves of the tree. And I'm going to use old olive paper and old olive ink to ink up the edges. And I'm just going to randomly place them, and I'm going to use some adhesive to put it on the top part of my frame, of my window. And once I have them all placed, I'm going to turn it over, and I'm going to use my window as my guide to just cut off the excess. Okay, so I'm going to place that piece aside, and I'm going to start cutting out my owls. And I'm just going to punch all my pieces out into this container so that there's not pieces all over my workspace. And then I pull out all of the pieces that I need and place them on my workspace. So I use the Up, Up, and Away stamp set to create this dotted pattern. I just stamped it in 3 different colors, and I'm going to use my owl punch, and this is going to be the middle of the owl. And here I am putting just one together. I'm going to show you how I do it. I have a paper piercer that I use for moving things around, and it's got a lot of adhesive on the edge because I just use it for all kinds of glue sort of stuff. So it's a little sticky on the end, and that's how it works when I pick up these owl pieces. So I'm going to cut off the feet, the brown feet, and then I'm going to use the more mustard paper to create little orangey feet. So I'm taking these party hats from Party Hardy set, and the great thing about Stampin' Up! Markers is that you use them as inks. So I just draw on the back of my color on the back of my stamp, and I just breathe heavy on it and then stamp it, and it comes out as if I had used an ink pad. So it's a more economical way to get all the colors if you want all the colors, to just get all the markers. When I cut these hats out, I'm going to have a little strip at the bottom that I'm going to use to adhere them to the owls. So I put some glue with my two-way glue pen, which I love, and then I just put it on top. That glue pen is really sticky and it dries really fast. And I'm just going to take this scent, and I'm using some Memento Tuxedo Black ink, which works pretty well on the clear stamps, but actually I like the chalk ink better. I'm not sure why I didn't pull that out. I think my Memento ink was a little more handy. So I'm just cutting out these edges here, and I'm going to use some Daffodil Delight with my sponge dauber again to ink the edges. And I'm going to hold off on the other colors till later. So I'm just adhering it all together. First the branch, and then the owl. So I'm going to have the feet sticking to the branch and the hat sticking leaves. And that's how it's going to stay in the window. I'm going to do that for all three of the owls. And then I have their stomach sort of area touching on all of them. So I cut a strip that I'm going to use to cross all three to keep them in place. Just add a little bit more stability. And then I'm going to add another of the base owl piece on the back to make it even stronger. And also to cover up some of that halfway cut up mustard. I'm using my ATG gun to make sure it really is strong enough to hold. So I'm going to finish inking up the edges and some Melon Mambo to match the left owl, and then some Pacific Point to match the right owl. I'm going to use my pencil to curl up the edges, and then in the middle I'm going to curl it the opposite direction. And then I'm going to use my two-way glue pen where the paper hits to glue it onto the card. So it kind of comes up in the middle a little bit with a little hump. So this is Marvy Liquid Applique, and it's just like a pen, and you squeeze it and the liquid comes out. And I'm using it for the little pom-poms on the hats. And you use your heat tool, embossing heat tool, and it'll puff up like a marshmallow. I'm just going back and I'm puffing them up a little bit more with heat. And then finally I'm going to add some stickles to make it a little bit more festive. I'm just going to go over the whole stamped area with stickles and glitter. And that's it. Hope you enjoyed it. It's not too bad, it's not too hard. It just takes a little bit of time. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next week.